It is Beyond the Box Score 2.0 version. The boys are back.
Little blast from the past,
Star-spangled banter. Connor, you go first.
This is going to sound completely crazy.
Win me a few more games before you start dancing. That's all I ask.
That is the difference between being good and being great.
How about that segue right there, baby?
Forward bounce, just get it out of here.
You like that?
And they let the team down on Sunday. Last call.
Good evening and welcome to Beyond the Box Score. Here, a wild week in the NFL, but it's not over yet. There's another game tonight. Baltimore and Cowboys rounding out Week 13. And however you may be listening or watching us, thank you for joining us here. Cole Johnson here in Murrieta, California. And across the screen, my man, Madai baseball legend, 100-hit guy. You could throw him anywhere in the field. He could play any position. Will get the job done. Connor Priester in Buffalo, New York, Tonawanda, New York. How you doing today, man?
I'm flattered, Cole. Hey, it's a good day. We had a good weekend, huh? Good weekend. I mean, in terms of picks and stuff like that, I mean, I didn't do too hot. We'll get into that later, but a solid Sunday and Monday for the boys. I think this is the first time in a while that me and you have been, pretty content with our current situations. It's kind of weird. I mean, we both kind of struggled the last couple, but hey, got it done on Sunday, got it done on prime time. It was just a wild Sunday. I mean, it all goes back to what you talked about. I believe you opened up. It was your opening segment, or it might have been your last call a couple of weeks ago, where you're like, every single day in every game, there's just a new headline. Mm-hmm. And so obviously the Bills weren't playing Sunday. So my cousin and I, Jared, we turned on Red Zone. We got Red Zone a couple weeks ago, and every single game in the 1:00 games on the East Coast was just unbelievable. Just right down to the end, right to the wire. It was like they had to go with the 4-box or the 6-box like multiple different times because there was just so much happening. It was like the most exciting and most like teeter-totter of an hour I've ever witnessed in football. It was just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, a lot of close games. I'm right there with you. I was trying to watch as many as I could. Just a lot of one-score football games, especially in that early slot. A lot of fighting on both sides, a lot of games, and figuratively and literally, there's some fighting going on in Miami and Cincinnati. That got out of hand real quick. There's 5 players ejected in that game. I don't know if you
don't mess with Brian Flores.
I know
my God! Did you see him come charging out and he was about to throw some paws, dude? He was ready to go. Yeah. Oh my God! Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, but a bright spot. I mean, both of us walk away happy. Both of our teams got the win. Got to shine some light on that. That's why I'm sitting outside today. New spot. Got the sun on my face. Hopefully it goes down soon. But with that being said, Connor, let's get this thing rolling. We're gonna run through our top storylines of the week. Probably the most storylines we've had. It's getting intense. A lot of playoff implications on the line as we lead into the final 4 weeks of the season. But to start it off, Connor, New York. 2 different storylines here. The G-Men with the upset in Seattle, stay atop the NFC East. Big game, huge upset. Maybe not as much as an upset as some people may think. On to the second one in New York. The tank for Trevor saga continues, Connor. A last-second blunder. For some reason, we're going an all-out blitz up by not letting a team score with 13 seconds left. They go over the top. Raiders, their playoff hopes stay alive. Number 3, the dog pound takes another bite. Cleveland stunning Tennessee in that first half, 38-7 lead at halftime. Maybe the game of Baker Mayfield's career. We'll talk about that. Number 4, the Pats are coming. The Pats are coming. Not the British, but the Pats, Connor. New England storms into L.A. They win the special teams battle. They win on defense, all the things that are kind of what is built around the Bill Belichick dynasty. 45-0 win in L.A. and pretty much just throws a knife in L.A.'s hopes at having a decent season. Number 5, blunder at the goal line. Houston had a chance to beat Indianapolis. It was a game Connor and I talked about where that could be a possible upset this week. Deshaun Watson fumbles the snap inside the 2-yard line, and Indy escapes to 8-4. Welcome back to the playoffs. The Chiefs clinch another playoff spot. That's 6 straight appearances for the first time in franchise history. It wasn't pretty, but they got the job done. They're in the playoffs again. Probably the team to beat in the AFC as of right now. And yesterday, big news, unbeaten no more. Pittsburgh falls to 11-1 after blowing a 14-0 lead to Washington. And the Washington football team staying atop the NFC East with the Giants. That's 2 straight weeks they've kind of shocked the world. Pay your bills. This one's for you, Connor. You got to pay these bills. Give them the money. Buffalo shows they're part of the AFC's elite. They set themselves up for a possible chance at the top seed, a big win on Monday Night Football in Arizona playing San Francisco. Great game from Josh Allen and all the way around. And finally, breaking news earlier today, it hurts to be an Eagles fan right now. It hurts. Jalen Hurts named the starter over Carson Wentz for Week 14. That's going to get interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but let's run through these, Connor. Number 1, the Giants in Seattle. Big upset. You called me. I was freaking out. The most excited I've been for a Giants win in a long time. But they went in there and played some tough football, and they showed Seattle's weaknesses.
Yeah, so first off, we got to figure out the headlines. We got to talk over these headlines before you make them. All right, some of those were painful.
Oh, they weren't. They're
but
better than better than any newspaper headline there is. Come on.
Okay. The first thing that I just about this one, it was just wow. I mean, I know that you had that that New York belief and that optimistic approach, but to me, I didn't think it was going to happen. I think Seattle desperately needed a huge game to kind of cement themselves a little bit more in the NFC and kind of prove that they can still be a dominant team. And it's really, it all just kind of falls on Russell Wilson. Right now, I don't know if I was more impressed with New York or more confused and just disappointed in Seattle. The way that Wilson has just had his dramatic drop off in performance. I mean, I bumped him 2 weeks in a row for being my league MVP, and now he's kind of just fallen out of that picture. I mean, does it kind of add value if he ends up putting Seattle on his back and carrying them to the playoffs and doing damage? Is it going to add to the fact that he's even more of an MVP if he does that and goes out and has a bunch of terrific performances? Is that going to add his MVP value a little bit? Yeah. But at the same time, too, I mean, if you want to be considered for an MVP in this league, you got to go and just prove it week in and week out. And he's had a couple rough weeks now, and it's like when he goes, Seattle goes, and he did not go last night or Sunday, excuse me. But it's gut check time for Seattle now, and it's like still we're kind of waiting for that big blowout or just a big offensive performance or a very good defensive performance, and we're just not getting that. But things are looking up for you and the Giants, looking for a division title. But the thing that jumped out to me with the Giants is what makes me believe a little bit is that they're doing this and they beat Seattle without Saquon and Daniel Jones. And to me, it's just like it's confusing as well, because I didn't think the defense was really as good as they played against Seattle, but apparently they are, and they were unbelievable. And then the offense just got the job done. And that's really all you got to ask of them right now, especially with Daniel Jones being hurt.
Yeah. I'll get more into it in our Homer segment. But it was just crazy to see. They held Seattle in check in that first half, and that was huge. There's the block punt and the safety that made it 5-0 at halftime, one of the weirdest scores you could see going into a halftime. But I felt confident that they could still win that game. Keeping Seattle to 5 points and a half. It's pretty good, and the game plan was there. They knew what they had to do to win the game, and they stuck to their plan. They didn't shy away from it. They ran the football. That was their mentality, run the football. And it worked out. So the Giants' big win, 17-12. Very interesting. Seattle had a chance to win it. Giants stopped them on 4th down after a big 3rd down sack. Second week in a row, the Giants' defense has come up big. 4 straight wins for the G-men, and now we head to the team they share a building with, Connor. A team that we talked to Frank Vasquez about earlier this week and how he wanted them to be competitive. And he made the big call, and he said if there's a game they're going to win this year, not go 0-16, it was going to be against Las Vegas in their own stadium. And they played well. We were texting Frank that this is the best they've looked all year by far. they had the win right in their hands. They drive down and get what seemed to be a game-winning touchdown to save a winless season, and then the blunder happens, leads to a firing. Unbelievable call. You're up by 4 with 13 seconds left, and you bring 7 guys up to the line and bring 8 of them don't have any safety coverage, and you got one-on-ones on the outside, and you got a guy like Henry Ruggs who can outrun anybody. Touchdown, game over.
I'm just speechless about it, really. Only the Jets. That's about it. That's all I got.
No, and the thing was, we were texting Frank when it happened because he said he was gonna puke. He was like, I can't watch this. And you must have been like a few seconds ahead of me because all I heard Connor texting goes OMG in caps, OMG Frank or something. I just assumed like, oh, we're excited. They got to stop, game over. They got to pick or something, stop them on 4th down. As soon as I see a blitz coming and I see Derek Carr step into the pocket and unleash a bomb, as soon as the ball left his hand, I go, no way this is happening. It happened. Henry Ruggs in the end zone, 46-yard touchdown. Unbelievable. And, they're still winless. I guess, I mean, if some Jets fans are okay with it, they want to be winless. They want Trevor Lawrence. You already talked about our thoughts on it, but just to lose like that, like you can't just get one win. Like, come on. I know that's what I was beating Frank up. But anyway, we got some teams in this league that actually know how to win football, and we're going to head over there to a team I didn't think was going to win this year, to be honest. Cleveland Browns. They've been hyped up for the last 3 years. They still can't get into the playoffs. This year might be that year, Connor. They're now 9-3. They stunned Tennessee, and it wasn't the way that we thought. Both you and I talked about it. It might be a ground and pound game. You got 2 of the best running backs in the league going head to head. But Cleveland came out with some great setups, great schemes, and they threw the ball in the air and they beat Tennessee straight up and just bounced them in that first half.
Yeah, I believe you said the only way that Cleveland was going to win this game, too, is if Baker Mayfield had a great game, and he did. At least he had a tremendous first half. But honestly, I think Cleveland and Kevin Stefanski just completely outcoached Mike Vrabel in Tennessee, at least in the first half. There were so many times where it seemed like Vrabel was even trying to outcoach himself, tried to get way too cute with trick plays early on. For Cleveland, they did the same thing, though. They had a couple trick plays as well, but they were executed to perfection at the perfect time. But Tennessee, I mean, they tried they tried a trick play, trying to throw a play action pass to their offensive lineman on like a 3rd and medium, and he was being guarded. And like that works in on the goal line because you got these big 300-pound, 6'6" guys that aren't used to running out and catching the football. They're not used to having guys on them. But right in the hands, he had it, but then he gets hit, drops the ball because they're not used to having guys guarding them. So that was just a weird call to me. And I've always said that Tennessee's a good football team, but they win games because they'll get ahead early and then Henry just rides out the rest of the game, and he'll just, ground and pound, run out the clock and just do what he's got to do. But when you go down that much, especially early, and then you're having Ryan Tannehill having to basically force passes and you got to try and make him do something. And he's not a quarterback that's going to do that. In my opinion, it's basically just, the luck of the draw almost, where if you're going to go down early, like they're going to lose, especially that big.
Yeah, Tennessee's not a team that can play from behind. I think we've seen that before. But for Cleveland, I'm going to throw this real quick at you, Connor, before we move on to the next one. Was that a career game for Baker Mayfield? Is that the beginning of something special here? Was it a one-time thing? I mean, if you look at his stat line and just watch with the eye test, see how he played, I think that was his game of his career this far. It
was for sure his best game as a pro, for sure. And I think just like him and a bunch of the other quarterbacks in the draft class too, I mean, you're going to see hopefully a lot of development progression. I think that, he's definitely taken a lot of strides this year with Stefanski. And I think that, there's nowhere really to keep going but up for Baker Mayfield, especially with all the talent that he's being surrounded with. I think they finally got decent coaching in there now, and it's paying off with benefits for him. And it's almost kind of comparable to the situation that Josh Allen and the Bills have that I'll get into a little bit later. And it really just kind of goes to show what surrounding your young quarterback with talent and good coaching can do. Because look at what Sam Darnold, the complete opposite, surrounded with terrible coaching and no talent. Look what's happening to him. Even though everybody thought that he was the most NFL ready, going to be the best QB prospect coming out of the draft. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I've always been, we'll get more into it later, but I always thought Josh Allen was the best quarterback coming out of those 5. I guess we'll see. Mayfield kind of jumping on his tail coach right now. Number 4, we'll move on to this one, Connor. Apparently you didn't like this headline. The Pats are coming. But hear me out. I picked them to win this week. That was one of the few games I got right. Only a couple. I think I went 2 for 5 in my take 5. Bad week. I was all in on New England. They're playing much, much better football. It's a team that's just kind of starting to blend. They had to go through a lot early on in the year, bringing in Cam Newton. Yeah, 8 opt-outs, by far the most in the league. It was a brand new team that was dealt to Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, and they're starting to make it work. We saw it early on in the year when they had barely lost to Seattle in Seattle. I thought at that point, you're like, okay, Patriots are for real. Then they fell off, and they blew out Las Vegas, but they fell off and had a bunch of terrible football games, but they're playing good football. And I think you picked LA to win this game, or something. At least you talked about it a little bit. I was all in on New England. I'm not saying they're making the playoffs, but they're going to go at least 8-8, 9-7, maybe just miss out. But that's a win in their book for this season for the kind of crew they have.
Yeah, I got nothing. I was wrong. Flabbergasted by the outcome. Herbert just looked lost. New England's defense was unreal. LA's special team was atrocious. New England's was fantastic. And New England could sit their starters for the last 10 minutes of the game. End of story.
Yeah, and then so we'll see how they kind of come out here at the end of the year. But moving on, the blunder at the goal line, we talked about it. This was a game you and I discussed early in the week, saying Houston could win this game. They're coming off of they played on Thanksgiving, so they had a lot of rest. They played a big game at Detroit, but they did lose Will Fuller to that suspension, so that takes away that dynamic duo of Watson and Fuller. But they still had a chance to beat Indy, and they're inside the 2-yard line, and they had a chance to win, and they dropped the ball literally.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if you were watching the game live or if maybe they showed the replay after that fumble, but I think the look on J.J. Watt's face says it all. And again, I keep bringing it up. He's probably watching. My cousin literally said that's the face of a man that wants out of Houston, because J.J. Watt couldn't do anything besides laugh, because it's just like, and also Deshaun Watson couldn't have done anything more that game too. He's an unbelievable talent, and again, he's just not getting the help, especially with Will Fuller getting suspended for the rest of the season. Offensive line, he's literally going to get killed, I think, if they don't bolster that offensive line in the offseason. He's seriously going to get seriously hurt or potentially killed, because there's just no help there. It's as bad as Philly. The only thing that makes it a little better is Deshaun Watson is more agile and more elusive than Carson Wentz, and he can run better. But it's great if you're an Indy fan, and for Houston, it's just another shot in the kidney.
Yeah, huge escape for Indy, because they would have again fallen behind Tennessee, but now they're locked atop that division, both 8-4. They split the season series, so that's going to be interesting in the South. Kind of bumps Houston out. No chance now if they had a miracle run at it. Moving on, I know you're not a big fan of this. You say escaped here in caps, Connor, but Chiefs are going back to the playoffs. It wasn't pretty. I had them at -13. Thought they were going to run through Denver. Just they couldn't score in the red zone. I think they missed Clyde Edwards-Helaire in that game to have any sort of power running game. I just don't think they have it, and you need that in the red zone, and they just couldn't punch it in when they needed to.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Like, I don't care if they won. I think Kansas City should still be embarrassed, and Andy Reid should have ripped them apart after that game. All right, yeah, a win's good. You're in the playoffs. Congratulations. But you're a Super Bowl favorite that, like you just mentioned that I said, you're a Super Bowl favorite that just escaped with a win against a terrible team. All right, yeah, the defense is decent. It's what's keeping them in ball games. They have no They've literally played without a quarterback a couple weeks ago. Offense is not great. But yeah, the defense is giving you problems, but you're supposed to be the best of the best. We saw what Mahomes and Tyreek Hill did last week. There was really no excuse why they couldn't go out there and do it again. And there was no excuse why this shouldn't have been a blowout. And to me, it's slightly concerning. And they're just lucky that if they were to have an off week, that it was against a team like Denver where you can still beat them when you have an off week.
Yeah, it was not the game we expected. They still got the win. How about that the catch that Tyreek Hill had? He didn't think he caught it, but if they would have reviewed that,
it would have helped me in fantasy too.
I know. And he had a touchdown later that got called back, so he missed out a couple times. But
unreal.
Win. They're going to the playoffs 6 years in a row, first time in franchise history. Moving on, another team at the top, Super Bowl favorite, Pittsburgh, 11-0. They're unbeaten no more. They had a 14-0 lead against Washington. It was an ugly first quarter for both sides. Pittsburgh started to look like they'd run away with it. And then they just stalled. The offense stalled. They start going 5 wide outs almost every play. They just completely abandoned the run game. I know James Conner's not in there, but they abandoned the run. It's almost you can see what they're going to do. And they blow the lead. Washington, credit to them. 2 weeks in a row, they kind of shocked everybody.
Yeah, I'll get a lot of blowback, but I think Pittsburgh's just fake to me. I said it multiple times. I'd never thought that they should have been undefeated. There's a lot of games that they probably could have lost. And again, I'm not the only one saying it, but I think they lose again next week to the Bills. All right, to me, I think the Bills are probably a lot better than what their record's showing. Mm-hmm. And Pittsburgh's the complete opposite. They're a lot worse than what their record is showing. There's a team that has good coaching that they can get them through those close ball games, but I don't think they have anywhere close to the talent as some other teams that have a worse record. So, I mean, again, sometimes the luck of the draw, it's week to week, but I didn't think they had any business being 11-0 and go out and lose to Washington, who is going to be playing inspired football because they are in contention for the NFC East.
Yeah.
And they just took them for granted, and Washington just surprised the world. Yeah,
and Pittsburgh's been dealing with crazy stuff the last 2 weeks, getting a game pushed back to Wednesday, having to play another game on Monday that wasn't supposed to be on a Monday. There's that stuff there, but these last 2 games, that's not – if you just watch the game, they're not a Super Bowl team, just based off the last 2 weeks. We'll see how they can play in Buffalo. I'm with you. I think Bills take that one on Sunday night. Speaking of the Bills, Connor, the Bills, big win on Monday Night Football. Really dominated that whole game. I know they came out early on and went down because they got stood up at the goal line. They did it right back to San Francisco, and they fumble on the goal line. That's how San Francisco scores first. But after that, it was all them the entire way.
Yeah, it was super concerning too because right off the rip, I mean, again, you don't get a lot of primetime games in Buffalo. So right off the rip, it was like you're nervous. Like, no matter if you're a fan, if you're a player, if you're a coach, like you're nervous. You're on prime time. You know it's a big game just because it's prime time. You're facing a very good team in San Fran, even though their record may not show it. And it was like in the first 5 minutes, Devin Singletary limps off. It looks like he just had a knee injury, but then you see him running on the sideline, so it's a sigh of relief. But then Zach Moss goes in there. Zach Moss fumbles a handoff after you have a big stop. And then Cole Beasley right before that too, he gets evaluated for a potential concussion because he took a shot, but then he goes off having a career day. Mm-hmm. And so just right off the rip, though, with those guys going down, and then John Feliciano, one of their best offensive linemen, goes down as well. So it was like, no, not this way. And then what changed the whole entire first couple minutes was just an awful passer interference call on Levi Wallace. It was a third down play, and they went for it kind of like a deep shot. And Levi Wallace makes a great play. I mean, there was a little bit of contact, but nothing that really warranted a flag. Gets his opposite arm up to flex the ball, and that's ultimately what led to the first San Francisco touchdown. And but after that, I mean, Sean McDermott just shows that he has absolute stones. Going for it on fourth down multiple times, leading to points. It's just something that you don't see in Buffalo until Sean McDermott, mm-hmm. And it's a combination of a lot of things, the talent they have now, the general manager, players buying in, but Sean McDermott has a lot to do with the reason why the Buffalo Bills are successful. He is an unbelievable coach. I talk about all the time how great of a leader he is. He gets his team to buy in. You look at him on the sideline. It's just a guy that you want to play for. And just they went out last night and they balled out. I mean, the offense, the defense coming up with some big turnovers. Yeah, Nick Mullins threw for like 300 yards, but I mean, you got a couple key turnovers. They stopped the run really well kind of after the first quarter. And it was just, I said that it was their best all-around game this season, because early in the year you had the offense going out, just Josh Allen just doing what he was doing early in the year, and the defense was kind of just letting teams back in games. It was their best all-around performance.
Yeah, and we'll get more into that because you got your homer time coming up. We'll talk much more about the Bills coming up here, but finally, the rounded out this morning announced that Jalen Hurts would be the starting quarterback in Philadelphia. We spent a lot of time on this last week talking to Kyle Powell about it. The Eagles go in there and another bad game. They're getting beat by 17, I think, and they benched Carson Wentz, and now it's official. Jalen Hurts will be taking over.
To me, I didn't even write anything down for this headline because I'm so just undecided about it. I think if it's any different year, I understand, because yes, you're struggling. You're not winning with Carson Wentz, who we talked about all the time, how he was MVP and caliber, just doing what he did, and now he's just complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because you still actually have a shot at the division, which is hilarious because they have 3 wins, that I think it's the wrong move.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the reason all the time. It's like we're broken records, that there's just nothing around Carson Wentz that's going to make him good or make him better. And Jalen Hurts didn't even do that well when he came into the game in garbage time on Sunday. I think really the only good thing he did is he actually did a really good job of rolling out, escaping a sack, and on the run having a nice little touch pass into the end zone for his first touchdown. And that was like the only good thing. I mean, his passes, the way he was in the pocket, everything, it didn't look like it was going to be better than Carson Wentz. It didn't look like that he was going to be the answer for Philadelphia's struggles right now. But I don't know. We'll see. Only time's going to tell, but I'm just so indifferent about it. Like I said, if it's any different year, I would understand. But right now, I don't.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how they play out the rest of the year. They got Arizona and I believe Baltimore. No, they already played Baltimore. They got the Saints next week, excuse me. Cardinals, and then they finish it out with 2 division rivals, Cowboys and Washington football team. So we'll see how they end the year. But Connor, let's shift to this. Those are our headlines for the week. Very big week in the NFL. Last week, as you know, I finished out the show talking about Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh my! And just the animals, all the claw animals, scary animals in the NFL. They're losing. A bunch of losing franchises. There's only one of them that won on Sunday, though. Lions beating the Bears, scoring 2 touchdowns in the final 2.5 minutes to win that game. When we sat down yesterday with Steve Hostinski, one of our former teammates, went to Medaille College with us from Michigan, huge Lions fan. He's been let down for years and years. And we made the Beyond the Box Score call to the pen, and this was our interview with Steve yesterday. All right, now we're making our Beyond the Box Score call to the pen. Special guest today to talk about the Detroit Lions and what's going on in Detroit. And we have Steve Hostinski. Steve, can you hear us? There you are.
Connor.
How's it going, man?
Doing good. Good to see you guys. How's everything going?
And it's going, man. It's going.
The dream. Living the dream.
Awesome. Good to hear.
Yeah, so Steve, we wanted to bring you on just to talk about, what's been going on in Detroit. It's I ended my last call last week talking about the Lions and the whole mess with all the animals in the NFL. The Bengals, the Jaguars, the Lions, the Bears, they're always at the bottom. What's going on in there? So they come out, they beat the Bears. Yesterday, big win, come back, 2 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes. How are you feeling today about that?
I woke up in a pretty good mood, not going to lie. Victory Monday. But no, it was good to see with the new coach and how they responded, throughout that game. They were never winning throughout the game. I don't know if you guys were able to watch it, but they were down 10 points with like 3 minutes to go. Stafford marched down the field, in under a minute, under 2 minutes, something like that. And then they made a great defensive play. Trubisky got him to fumble the ball, recovered at 10-yard line, scored 2 plays later. It was great to see. And then the Bears actually were marching down the field, and they made a great 4th-and-1 stop on a run play, Montgomery, so it's great. And just seeing the players celebrate with Bevel at the end of the game, honestly, was good to see because, Patricia didn't really have the locker room, so seeing that excitement on the sidelines and just seeing Stafford, coaching up the guys on the sideline was great to see.
Yeah, and you mentioned that with Bevel. It's been a dumpster fire for a little bit with Matt Patricia. People thinking he was the answer. Obviously, it wasn't. How did you feel when they fired part of their coaching staff mid-season? Do you think that was necessary? Is it something they waited to the end of the year?
Personally, I didn't think they were going to do it mid-season. I didn't think they never do anything like that. They don't do anything, surprising like that. And I'd consider that pretty surprising, mid-season fire. I thought he'd be gone at the end of the year for sure, but it was just time. When you're going into week 11, 4-5, in the playoff hunt against Carolina, going against PJ Walker, XFL quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater's backup, and you lose 20-0. That's really bad. And then on top of that, you go into Thanksgiving, you're going against, Romeo Crennel and a bad Houston team, in my opinion, besides Deshaun Watson. And you lose 41-25. That's pretty embarrassing on national TV. Everyone's watching you. So I knew the time was coming, but I didn't think Sheila Ford was going to pull the trigger there mid-season. But I agree with the move for sure.
And it's something we talked about before with Connor. I'll let you take this one with we talked about Matthew Stafford. You brought him up a week or two ago with what he's been surrounded with in his time there after being the number 1 pick back in 2008.
Yeah, me and Steve were actually texting a little bit yesterday too. It seems like he never has any help. It seems like he's doing just basically everything by himself. I know they're losing for a little bit for most of that game, but it's like, all season 2, and it seems like even when everyone's healthy, they don't really have a real good go-to running back, and it doesn't even seem like ever since Calvin Johnson that they're surrounding Stafford with all the weapons. But so Steve, I'm gonna get to my question. I haven't been big on the Lions. All right, so I'm sorry if that's offending you, but I've been down on them all year. I haven't seen them as a real threat, but seeing them play like they did yesterday, and the Chicago defense isn't a bunch of bums either, but to see Stafford go out and throw for 400, does it give you a little bit of hope that they can maybe try and make a push in what's a really weird NFC this year?
They got Green Bay coming up, and Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, everyone knows that. So if they go out and they beat the Packers, they're going to be 6-7. Yeah, 3 games left. I'm not going to come on here and say the Lions are going to make the playoffs. They're going to go 4-1, somehow get a tiebreaker and make the playoffs, but it was good to see a different kind of energy on the field yesterday compared to Thanksgiving, compared to the Carolina game. But, getting back to the weapons part, Galladay was out, Swift was out yesterday, Stafford still able to throw for 400, doing it with torn ligaments in his throwing hand, which is incredible. You couldn't tell. You probably wouldn't know that if I didn't tell you that. Some people, he has torn ligaments in his hand. He's thrown for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns against probably a top 10 defense, I'd say, probably in the NFL. So, it's a breath of fresh air, but they might go 0-4 these next 4 games. They got 4 tough games coming up, but I think they'll be competitive in these games. And I think if they lose by a touchdown, lose by 3, something. I don't think they're going to get blown out. I don't think they're going to quit on Darrell Bevel. So, I'm just going to take what they give me, and I'm not going to get my hopes up, because when I get my hopes up, the Lions kind of bring me back down to earth. So that's what I've learned throughout my lifetime.
I know all about that. Go ahead, Cole.
No, I was just going to say, Steve, because you talked about that being competitive. You just want to be competitive. We've talked to Frank earlier this week about the Jets and that whole tank method. And how important is it for you as a Lions fan just to see that fight? You may get the strength together a couple wins, and then you're in the middle of the pack. You don't get a top draft pick. But is that more important to you to just be competitive and finish this year out by going out and winning some games, showing some heart for a new coach?
Yeah, being in Buffalo, I listen to a lot of Detroit sports radio, so I hear both sides of it. I hear fans want the Lions to win out, try and make the playoffs, and I hear fans want them to lose out and get a better draft pick. But me personally, like looking back at the Lions drafts, they don't necessarily draft well in the first round. Like 2019, they took Hawkinson with the 10th pick. I feel like that's a great grand slam pick right there. He's going to be a good tight end. Last year, they take Okuda with the 3rd pick. And I'm watching every game. He's getting burned every game. Like, he's not there yet for being a top 3 player. So, the difference between a 4th overall pick or a 12th overall pick, as long as you get the right player for your team, that's all that matters to me. So, like I said, I'm going to take what they give me. If they win against Green Bay, I might get a little more excited. But I'm not on the train of losing, for a better draft pick. Like, I don't even know who they take, in the top 5. Like, do you take Justin Fields, at 4 or 5 overall to replace Stafford? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know where the new GM would want to go down, what route he'd want to take to try to, make this team a playoff team again.
Agreed.
Yeah, my bad. I don't know if you're going to talk, but no, I want to touch on what you said about Hawkinson. I think that was definitely probably one of their best picks in recent memory because, I mean, I don't want to make any strong comparisons, and also come off like I'm trying to win. Because I'm very high on Hawkinson, but he's almost like the not name brand Travis Kelce in a way. He's not as fast, but I think he's probably a little bit more powerful. But his route running and his athleticism is just incredible, and it's definitely something that you get the right wide receivers with Matt Stafford. I think it's going to prolong his career a little bit more, especially in Detroit if he likes throwing to him. So I definitely think that's a big pick right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I love Hawkinson. Stafford looks for Hawkinson in the end zone every time they're down there. I mean, he's up there with Marvin Jones, leading the team in yards and receptions and touchdowns. I mean, granted, Galladay's been hurt, 6 games this year, and he's top 10 receiver when he's healthy, in my opinion. I'm not even trying to be biased, but Galladay's special as well. But yeah, Hawkinson for sure. He's definitely a great pick, that 10th pick overall. I wasn't high on it at the time because the last time the Lions took a tight end in the top 10 was Eric Ebron, I think back in like 2015. And I absolutely hate Eric Ebron. I hate everything about him. I just don't think he's good, but I don't want to get into any Eric Ebron slander here on your guys' show. But I mean, I wasn't high on Hawkinson, but he's definitely came around and he's very athletic and very big and he's a great red zone threat. So that's where I'm at with him.
Yeah, here, Steve, before we let you go, just one thing. if you look at the Lions over the course of your lifetime, it's been disappointing. We've talked about it. You have not seen a playoff win. You kind of fall into that category that Connor and all our Buffalo buddies fall into. We haven't seen a playoff win in their lifetime. They haven't won a playoff game since 1991. Realistically, for you, is that coming soon? Can you feel it? Can you taste it at all? I know they're another losing record this year. You want to be competitive. Can you taste a playoff win in the next couple of years?
It all depends on who they bring in, Cole, at the GM position and the head coaching position. And that's why this is so important. You have to get it right this time because since, 1963 when Ford, bought the team, the best person they hired was Jim Caldwell. I think he went like 36-28 in his 4 years, and he made the playoffs twice, and they fired him because he couldn't win a playoff game. So, I mean, and Caldwell is the best they've ever had, and they fired him because he couldn't win the big game. So you really have to get this hire right. Whoever it is, if it's, going to be Bevel if he wins out, if it's going to be, that OC from KC, it's, what's his name? Bieneme or something. Whoever it is, you just got to make sure you get the right personnel in there. And then they got to decide what they want to do with Stafford. You know what I mean? There's too many question marks to say they're going to make the playoffs next year. So, I mean, it's tough. I'm still going to be hopeful. And I'm still going to let them hurt my, heart every Sunday when they, lose. But I can't give you an answer on that one, buddy. Sorry.
We feel for you, Steve. We feel for you. Sorry, I got some garbage truck going on right now. I feel for you. Connor, you got anything else for our guy?
That's really about it. I mean, I'm wishing you and the Detroit faithful all the best because, like I said, I know all about the pain and suffering. So,
yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. Rooting for Buffalo tonight. So, because
sure.
I guess
For sure.
The Bills get a win today, knock San Fran down a little bit in the playoff standings in case the Lions decide to make a run. So that'd be nice.
We'll see what happens. I'm optimistic, but I'm also extremely nervous because we talked about it last week. That this is definitely one of those games that Buffalo's going to lose, and then we'll stomp out and beat Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football next week. So it's just one of those Buffalo things to do. So
sounds about right for sure. Any given Sunday or Monday, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Or Tuesday or Wednesday this year.
Or Thursday. No Friday games yet, though.
every day of the week. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Steve, and best of luck to your Lions.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure.
All righty. So that was Steve Hostinsky yesterday. Connor and I had fun talking to him, big Lions fan. Hopefully they can string something together and turn that organization around in the future. I'm not sure though. You never know with those Lions. But to shift this, to continue this, let's go to our heroes of the week, Connor. There's probably a lot of options, but who do you got? Who's your hero this week? Hey, buddy, you're on mute. Okay.
Yeah, I was on mute. All right, we fixed that. Fix that real quick. I'm going a little unorthodox here.
Okay.
So when I'm wrong, I'll own it. I was wrong about the Pats and the Chargers game. So I'm going with Gunnar Olszewski. All right. This man completely carried their special teams. I got to look up the number again, but he had a 70-yard punt return touchdown. Then he added on another 61-yard punt return. And then he had a 38-yard touchdown catch, the first of his career. That return was also his first return touchdown of his career as well, obviously. But yeah, just unreal for that New England special teams unit. And getting his first career touchdown, big day, and a big day for New England.
Yeah, he actually had a return last week as well, but got called back. So it's kind of like a good karma there for Gunnar. I love Gunnar. He's a tough player. I think he's going to be a good asset to that team moving forward. He's still young. Covered him this summer in New England when I was there for training camp, and I was excited to see what he could do. I wasn't sure if he'd be a guy that'd go out in the receiving corps a lot, which he doesn't, but he's been very good on special teams. Yeah. My hero of the week here, Connor, it's not a player. It is the coach who just got canned. Greg Williams, a hero for Las Vegas and a hero for the Jets tank. So 13 seconds left. We already talked about it. 46-yard line. You're up by 4. He sends 7 guys and has an 8th who just kind of hangs around there and then comes up on Derek Carr and gets in his face at the last second. Really, there's no point there. So you have 3 defensive backs, all one-on-one coverage, no safety deep. Give up a bomb. Henry Ruggs the third, touchdown, 5 seconds left, game over. He's a hero for the tanking Jets to stay winless. It's a hero to keep Las Vegas playoff hopes alive because if the Raiders lose that game, their season's over. They have no shot in that tough AFC. So thank you to the Greg with 2 G's who just got canned yesterday morning. You're a hero in a couple of cities' books. So what are you saying, 3?
Yeah, 3 G's.
Well, of course it starts with a G, Connor. I'm talking about the 2 G's at the end, which I've never seen before. All right. Those are heroes of week 13. We'll see what we got next week. Connor, bumper bounce. Let's get it rolling. Who we got?
I am officially a believer. I am bumping the New York Football Giants.
The game, man.
I stated my case already. If that defense can stop Russell Wilson, they can almost stop anybody at this point. I'm not going to go making bold claims about playoffs, but I definitely think that they have a legitimate shot of winning the NFC East now. I think that they're almost a favorite to win that division now. It's going to be interesting. We just got to make sure that, the Giants don't do giant things because they just, who do they play on Sunday?
They got, oh my God.
Oh my God.
I think it's Cleveland. Maybe.
Is it Cleveland? Hold on. Hold the phone. Oh my God.
No, it's Arizona. Sorry. It's Arizona and then Cleveland.
Okay. So that's a winnable game, in my opinion.
Definitely.
if you just beat Seattle, you can beat Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. The only thing that I think that you really have to worry about there is containing Kyler Murray on the ground.
Yeah.
And then the offense just needs to get the job done. So I'm bumping the New York Giants.
Sounds beautiful. I appreciate it. Not that I have anything to do with them, but good. Hey. And then you bump the Giants. Guess who I'm bumping? The Buffalo Bills. But it's not just the Bills. I got two this week. I'm cheating a little bit. I got Buffalo and Cleveland, Connor. This is why I can't pick between the two. I mean, week 13 had some eye-opening games. It was a crazy week, a lot of headlines, as we've already discussed. But both of these two teams sit on top of the mountain right now. They're both 9-3. They both proved me wrong this week. I took Tennessee -5.5. And I took San Francisco last night because I thought it was one of those trap games for Buffalo, and then they're going to come out and beat Pittsburgh next week. I still think they beat Pittsburgh next week. I think they both win next week. I think Buffalo continues the momentum. They beat up on that shaky 11-1 Pittsburgh team, and then Cleveland's going to avenge their week 1 blowout to Baltimore. They got completely blown off the field in week 1. Baltimore's not the same team as they were week 1. Cleveland's not the same team they were. They're much better now. Baker Mayfield, the game of his career. If they can pound the run and then still go through the air with a comfortable Baker Mayfield, they can be dangerous. I think they can win a playoff game. So I am bumping Buffalo. I'm bumping Cleveland. Who do you got for who's your bounce for a team?
Ironically enough, I probably should have done my proper research and looked up what the schedule was next week, because my bounce is actually the Arizona Cardinals. But also, I'm kind of thinking about this now because also the Seattle loss really kind of makes us a little iffy, because I wanted to bounce the Cardinals, but then also with Seattle losing, it makes it a little harder to bounce, because the reason why I wanted to bounce them is because I think their time was up. In a normal year with 6 teams making it, I think they'd be done for. But also, I still kind of think that Seattle, they're not done yet. They're obviously not done yet, and they're going to make an absolute surge. I think at some point, Russell Wilson's going to have to go off. Mm-hmm. LA is also, I think, a better team than the Cardinals as well. Excuse me, but I still think that they're very close to having the fork be stuck in them right now. Mm-hmm. Their only glimmer of hope is that 7 teams are making it this year, and I think they really just kind of peaked when they walked off on the Bills. DeAndre is already complaining about wanting the ball more, so you're having team drama now. They're not playing as good. I think they got so much hype early on in the year, and when they were playing well, that now it's just kind of like, they're going downhill now, and it's only downhill from here on, obviously. Yep. So,
all right, I'm bouncing. This was tough, but I'm officially out on Philadelphia now. This was a tough pick. There was not a lot of teams I wanted to bounce on this week. If I've already said them before, or I'm just not ready to bounce them yet. It's not just because they lost by 2 scores to Green Bay, but now they're a game and a half out between both Washington and New York. It's going to be a tall mountain to climb if they're going to win the NFC East, and I don't think it's happening because they're going to get blown out by New Orleans this week. They'll probably lose to Arizona week 15. We'll really see what they're made of, see if they have any heart or guts in the final 2 games of the year against division rivals while the season's already a bust. But right now I'm out on Philly. I just can't do it anymore. I'm sick of the whole Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts talk. I did it for a week. I don't think it's the right move. I was somewhat okay with it for the first time because they're losing by 3 scores to a really good Super Bowl favorite Green Bay team. Might as well throw them in there. But completely benching the guy you're giving a 4-year, $128 million contract to, I don't like it. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. You can use him in certain packages, but he's not going to be your starting quarterback. So I'm out on Philly. Who do you got for bumping quickly or bump bounce? Just do bump bounce player right back to back. Let's see what you got.
All right. Hold on. Because I'm standing my ground still on this. And again, I'm dying on this hill. Bumping Taysom Hill again.
Oh, wow.
Sit Breeze the rest of the regular season. Taysom Hill can clinch you the number 1 seed. He didn't have a sexy day on Sunday. It wasn't sexy, but he got the job done. All right. And he showed progression throwing the football. And that is one thing that we really haven't seen. Yeah, he threw for, I think, like 260 the first time with Atlanta. But hey, he now has passing touchdowns in his career in the NFL. He threw his 2 first passing touchdowns. He had a decent day running the ball. It makes this for a fun, dynamic offense to keep the other team guessing. And I hope you're ready for this one. I hope you're ready for this take. All right. So I want to just make sure it is Tuesday, December 8th at approximately 6:57. If they're the same age, and if I had to take them with their current skill set, what they have right now. So if I'm taking these two players, if I had to choose between these two players with the current skill set that they have, and if they were both 1 year in the league, I would take Taysom Hill as my starting quarterback over Lamar Jackson. Taysom Hill is a better passer, and he's almost a better runner than Lamar Jackson. He isn't a better runner, but he can run the ball effectively, not to the extent of Lamar Jackson, but he can run the ball effectively. He's fast, he's elusive, he's agile, he can turn on a dime, and I would take him to start a franchise over Lamar Jackson.
Ooh. Bold moves here on BTBS. I like it. It's interesting. It is.
Now I'm going to go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum here.
Okay.
Wait, did you have something else?
No, I was just saying it's interesting.
Who am I bouncing? All right, Dan Bailey. You remember him? Remember when he was actually like a high-end kicker in Dallas?
Yeah.
All right, well, he needs a new job because he's not doing his in Minnesota. And if they want to sneak into the playoffs, he needs to start making kicks. All right, he was 2 for 3 on field goals, respectable, but 1 for 3 on extra points. That game should have never went into overtime.
No, it shouldn't.
So he and Michael Badgley for the Chargers should probably start a kickers emotional support group because they're both going to be jobless probably by the end of the year. And also to whoever coined Michael Badgley as the money badger, shame on you. You are getting bounced as well. Get him out of here. That's it.
That's awesome. Oh, man. Money Badger. Yeah, I'm not sure where that came from. We need to stop giving kickers names. Anyway, my
I got one for Tyler Bass, by the way.
Oh yeah, what is it?
High dollar sign.
Okay. All right.
Leave the naming stuff up to me. I'm much better. I'm much better at it.
Fine. I'm bumping Justin Jefferson. We haven't talked about him that much, but I think he's the front runner for NFL Rookie of the Year. He just makes that Vikings offense look much better when they need him. He's kind of been Kirk Cousins' safety valve outside of, when he's not throwing in the direction of Adam Thielen. He helps take the focus off of Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook coming out of the backfield. He has 61 catches, over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. I mean, if Minnesota can figure out how to manage games better, get more solid on defense, this could be a scary team next year. This could be another playoff winning football team. They won last year. This year, they're probably not going to make the playoffs. They have a chance to get back next year. But him in his second year, I know I'm jumping the gun here, but I'm just saying bumping Justin Jefferson right now. He makes that offense more complete as a rookie, and you don't see that too often. So I don't have a bounce for a player. I couldn't find one. I couldn't think of one. Whatever. Let's just be more positive and not negative. That's how I look at it, right?
That's very good, Cole. Well, hold on.
Very optimistic. All right, homer time. Let's make this quick, Connor. We have a lot to say about the Bills. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. And I already kind of said everything I wanted to say earlier. But also shout out Cole Beasley. He now has the most touchdown receptions for someone 5'8" or shorter.
Wow.
Yeah. Short King representing for all of us short kings out there. No, I just think overall it was everything that you really wanted to see, especially on a primetime game. I think now that really kind of cements Buffalo as a force to be reckoned with in the AFC and even in all of the NFL. And it's just really good to see as a Buffalo fan. I mean, Josh did a great job of spreading the ball around. Diggs had a very, very quiet 90-plus yard day. It's just, they just used Diggs, didn't really use him as a deep threat. what everyone thought that he was going to be used for in Buffalo. Just use him as just the great route runner that he was. Quick 10-yard crow routes, quick 10-yard out routes, corner routes, whatever, and did a great job at that. Beasley, great job getting down the field, getting open for Allen. Even getting Dawson Knox involved. I don't know if you saw the one goal line, but they didn't score on it, but they took a little page out of Kansas City's playbook. It was a little play action shovel pass to Dawson Knox in motion. And that's something that Kansas City does a lot with Travis Kelce. Did I say with Kelce in motion? Dawson Knox in motion. Anyway,
You said
defense stepped up. Even Matt Milano didn't really play much, at least what it seemed in the first half. Really, AJ Klein still got a lot. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the snap counts, but AJ Klein got a lot of snaps, so it looked like they're really trying to ease Milano back in. But it just looks like that the confidence in the group is just growing, and to see that and to see the team kind of put everything together now, just a lot of confidence in everybody. So I couldn't be more pleased. Honestly, it's on to Pittsburgh now. I think that's probably the biggest game of the year now. You got to beat Pittsburgh. You beat Pittsburgh, you're going to be looking at teams thinking about you, maybe almost on the same level, probably a little under Kansas City.
Yeah, 9-3. They're right there, Connor. Good, big year. I think definitely this is probably the most complete Bills team I've seen in my lifetime. So I know how you're feeling over there. But shifting to the Giants here, Homer time. David versus Goliath has been the story of my Giants my entire life so far. I mean, in their 2 Super Bowl years that I was pleased and blessed to see, they were the underdog, not only in the Super Bowl itself when it was New England both times, but through the entire playoff run. They were the underdog in every single game, and they always had to go on the road and win in the playoffs. They won in Green Bay in both of those. They won in Dallas with Tony Romo and Terrell Owens. They're just they fight, and I think the past few years have been really rough. They call it the curse of the boat game. It was the game where they got in the playoffs. They're going to Green Bay. Everyone actually thought they could win that game. They thought Green Bay was overrated, and then you got guys out on the boat partying in Miami like 2 days before the game. Ever since then, it's been a dumpster fire. Yeah, bench Eli Manning. People are up in arms. You lose 2 coaches during this time, but I think they found their guy. On Sunday, they did the whole David versus Goliath thing again. They win the game. They go to Seattle, beat Russ with Colt McCoy as their backup quarterback. I said from the beginning, I thought the Giants were going to cover +10, but I didn't think they were going to win. When Daniel Jones was ruled out, I said, no way. I just couldn't see it. I could maybe see possibly, luckily, covering a +10, maybe losing by a touchdown or 9 points or something. They go in there. It was thrilling to watch. They're fun to watch. Nothing to not like about this Joe Judge run team. They bought in. Even when they were 0-5, they bought in. They fought tooth and nail every week. They've only lost 2 games by double digits. So, they're right there in every game. They fight. They're tough. And I'm also with you, Connor. I'm very proud of my football team right now. Haven't been this excited about the Giants in a few years just because it was just the expectation that it was going to be a rough year. And in the most improbable year for this to happen, they have a chance to win the division, which they haven't done since 2011. And that turned out to be that second Super Bowl run. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. Don't misquote me there.
Well, that'd be something.
But there's our homer time. Bills and Giants both looking on the up and up right now. But, there's times when you're right and there's times when you're wrong. Connor and I do a lot of both. Connor, take it away. Where you were right and where you were wrong. Let's just fire them all out right here.
All right. Well, for starters,
accountability.
I was pretty bad with my picks this week. I went 9-5. Definitely not where I want to be. Definitely don't like 9-5.
Still not bad. It's 4 games over 500.
Could be 10-6 if I get Dallas beating Baltimore tonight. So we're awaiting that.
Okay.
But where I was right, I was 80% right with Gabriel Davis. I said that his production was going to go up with the absence of John Brown. Last night, it was really Beasley filled in as that wide receiver 2, even though he put up wide receiver 1 numbers. Davis is definitely still a threat, especially in enemy territory. They love getting him the ball in plus territory. And he's always going to be a TD threat in the red zone. So I'd anticipate still going forward in an average of 5 to 7 catches a game while Brown is out. Where else I was right, I said Devontae Adams was going to go off against Philadelphia. He's riding a touchdown streak right now. He did that. He went off 120 plus yards, 2 touchdowns. Where I was wrong, I already admitted it. I already got it out of the way. Don't want to talk about it anymore because I'm upset about it. New England. All right. I counted them out maybe a little bit too early. I said they were done for, not even just this year, but the whole dynasty and with that Belichick era. Belichick should have rode off into the sunset when after Brady left. I might have been a little bit too quick to jump on them because this past weekend, defense was unreal. The offense did decent. Special teams was absolutely incredible with Olszewski. Defense really just showed up. So I was wrong. Maybe I was too quick to jump on them. And then Cleveland versus Tennessee. We both kind of agreed to be a ground and pound game, and we really said that the only way they win is if Baker Mayfield has a really good passing game. Well, he did that. So the passing show was just on display by Baker Mayfield. Derrick Henry was neutralized, and I didn't pick Cleveland to win, so I was wrong about that.
Okay, not bad. I'm going to say that I was right about New England, but I already said I was. I'm not going to go into it. We got to keep this short here. I was right about, I just kind of mentioned it, the Giants covering in Seattle. I said it all week. I left it off my take 5. I told you kind of because I didn't want to get emotionally involved. I just wasn't going to do it. But I had it early in the week that the Giants could shock the league by even just covering with Colt McCoy. But they go and win the game. Unbelievable. Still their division to lose at this point in time. I was feeling really good about that yesterday until Washington goes in and beats Pittsburgh. The Giants would have had a full game on Washington and the tiebreaker because they beat them both. It's still theirs, though. They hold the tiebreaker. Where I was wrong, Wentz getting benched at Green Bay. I said it wasn't the right thing to do. I backed Carson Wentz up all last week. I tried as much as I could. I said you can't turn away a guy you give a 4-year, $128 million contract to, who you named as your franchise guy when you picked him as the number 2 pick in the draft 4 years ago. But this week, I wasn't completely upset that they went in favor of Hurts because I said late in the game they're down by 3 scores. And to be honest, Jalen Hurts didn't look that bad. But, it's in the situation. Green Bay's already won the game. And, their defense, I talked about how they can get soft sometimes. They kind of let that run at the end to make it even closer than it really was. That was never really a close football game. Is it long-term? No. Wentz is still the guy moving forward, but earlier in the week, I was hard on benching Wentz. Today, I'm not that upset about it. So I'll just say I was wrong. Where I was right, Matt Nagy and the Bears. I was out on them 4 weeks ago. It's a team that could, hold teams to an ugly, low-scoring game, squeak out a win. But on offense, it's brutal. I mean, it's just bad. This week, they finally put numbers together, only the second time they've reached 30 all year. And then they throw it away with bad clock management. They give up 14 unanswered points to the Lions in the final 2 minutes and 18 seconds. That just can't do that. I liked Matt Nagy a few years ago, but now I'm not sure if he's the answer with Mitch Trubisky nonetheless under center. Never been on Mitch Trubisky. For God's sake, the Bears fired Lovie Smith after a 10-win season in 2012. After a 10-win season, and now they're with Matt Nagy, and they can't figure it out. 6 straight losses. And there's a few more coming. They're going to finish under 500. So I was right on the Bears. I got – where else was I wrong? Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second, Connor. I was wrong about Cleveland dominating Tennessee. I had it as one of my take 5 picks. Like I said, I took Tennessee. I haven't had much faith in Baker Mayfield as a winning quarterback. Right from the start, it was all Cleveland. Baker played the game of his career to this point. I expected a run-heavy football game with 2 of the best running backs in the league. We discussed that earlier. And it turned away from that instantly. Cleveland drew up great plays. They had a good scheme, and they hit on Tennessee's weaknesses, and they beat them through the air. There was a couple of guys wide open that Baker Mayfield threw a dime on. And they're a legit team that can win a playoff game. I have to say, this team can win a playoff game. I don't think they're going any further than the divisional round if they get in, but I think they can win a playoff game. I've been turned off by their antics over the last couple of years, despite all their talent. Just a lot of too much talent. The OBJ thing, Baker Mayfield just trying to force it to OBJ, but he's out for the year. And they've started to flourish a little bit. It's really weird that a star being on the sideline can change a team that much. But If Baker Mayfield's comfortable and they can run the football and get ahead in games, they're going to be a very hard team to beat. But they just embarrassed one of the better teams in the NFL. I was pretty high on Tennessee last week, and that's about it. Very, very, very wrong on Cleveland, Connor. But
We both were.
we both got some right, some wrong this week. You know, it's good to take accountability when we're wrong. That's why we're here. We discuss some stuff, have some hot takes. But all right, Connor, I'm going to do something right now that I didn't tell you I was going to do, and you're probably going to hate me. You're going to hate me right now. Do you even want to guess at what it is? You don't want to guess? We're going to keep it short. We're running out of time here. We got NFL wrapping up. But we are going to make another quick Beyond the Box Score call to the pen. Can you even guess who's coming on right now? Because you're probably going to be mad. I'm not sure if you're going to be mad.
No way it's
Probably
Kyle
were.
again.
What?
There's no way it's Kyle again.
Are you sure?
Is it Kyle?
Are you sure? He just turned his head. James Mr. Cola, he's jumping on here with us. James wanted to come on and talk some football. And Connor, okay, let's to the audience. We're going to make this statement here. Connor and James have some weird relationship where, you know, Connor not a big fan of college sports. James is all in on it, sends him updates. He threatens to block him almost every day. He just turned his camera off. Connor, get back on here. James, are you there? James, can you hear us? Oh, I hear you now.
James, you got to turn the camera on, buddy.
There it is. James, you are on Beyond the Box Score. How's it going?
And good evening, everybody. Live from my bedroom and simulcast across the country via Facebook. It's Beyond the Box Score with me, Connor, and Cole.
All right, James. Now, what do you?
How long have you been waiting to do that, James?
Well, it was a little homage to Mike and the Mad Dog, Mike Francesa, Chris Mad Dog Russo, and John Sterling all mixed into one.
Is that a real mic? Is that a real microphone, James?
Oh, it's actually an SGA. I got it on eBay. The Yankees gave it out at Yankee Stadium a couple of years ago. And look, I don't know if you can hear this, but over. Yankees win. Oh, Yankees win.
All right. Anyway, James, enough with this. We're talking football.
Yeah.
We talked. Connor and I have been talking today. You've been watching the show, but the Bills, they're 9-3.
Yeah, they are.
Monday Night Football. Connor is very proud of them. You call yourself a displaced Buffalo fan.
I am.
What are you thinking about the Bills? How are you feeling?
Well, I know this show has been mostly positive about the Bills, and I hate to say it, but I'm gonna bring a little negativity into it. No offense, but last night they're tremendous. It was a complete effort, and it was night and day from 2 weeks ago. Which, if you looked at the box scores and didn't watch the game, those two games were both 10-point wins. And watching him, like I said, it was night and day, the feeling I had afterward this week and the week before. Last week, I thought they were ripe to get beat, and if they played a competently coached team, they should have gotten beat. I felt like playing the Chargers. I mean, I don't know if you guys agree. It was like playing a Rex Ryan coached team, essentially, is what I felt like. I mean, I know Lynn came up under Rex, but I mean, the Chargers, they were undisciplined. Lynn's clock management was just horrendous. The reason why the Chargers were down 10 points on the final drive instead of 7 was because he went for it on fourth and short, instead of kicking a field goal in the fourth quarter in Bills Terrace. So I give to you. I'm going to ask you guys this. I want to hear what you think, and then I'll respond with what I think. Do you think Sean McDermott, he's proven he can beat the teams that he should beat? Do you think he is the coach to get the Bills over the hump and to the next step? Because I think we can all agree here, getting the playoffs this year isn't good enough. They have to win the playoff game. To me, winning the division, it's nice, but you've seen him with the Giants. It doesn't matter whether you just get in the playoffs. It doesn't matter whether you win the division or get a wild card. Just get in the playoffs. To me, this year is a complete failure unless they win a playoff game. Do you agree?
Yeah, but if you're saying that Sean McDermott can't win big games, you are completely false.
What is his signature win with the Bills? And I'll put it in context. What is it?
Okay, any single primetime game for me, I believe is a big
All
game.
right, but what is? Okay, I'll let you finish. Go.
Last year, Thanksgiving against the Dallas Cowboys, that's not big for you?
It's big, but the Cowboys weren't any good last year.
Okay. Pittsburgh on Sunday night.
They were not. Do you see who their quarterback was?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
They were the same team that they are this year, but they
I agree.
without Ben Roethlisberger.
I agree, but that's a huge difference. It's a huge difference.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you don't think last night was a big game either?
Well, last night was great, but I mean, this Niners team did not have the quarterback. They did not have their tight end, and they were also missing Bosa, who was
Nick
brother.
Mullins threw for 300 yards.
What's that?
Nick Mullins threw for over 300 yards.
I know, but So,
you know who doesn't throw for over 300 yards like that against the Bills?
Who?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy G. Yeah, it's possible.
Jimmy Garoppolo would not have thrown for over 300 yards.
I agree.
Nick Mullins was probably the only quarterback for that San Francisco roster that would have beaten the Bills last night. He gave them the best chance. And if you're okay, I'm really glad you did this. Okay, so you're telling me that you think that Sean McDermott?
I never said I thought. I'm just asking. I'm posing the question.
Then what is your claim?
0-2 in playoff games. We've seen his conservative nature, especially before the half.
Is your basis of this claim all off of because it seemed like it was close with the Chargers?
No. This is a pattern I've noticed with McDermott in games, not just last night, not just with the Chargers. His conservative nature, especially before the half. I mean, I'll give him credit last night. He went for fourth down 3 times and they got 2 of them. But to me, you know what? I mean, those were all no-brainers to me to go for it. Go for it on fourth down. Like, I mean, you give him credit.
I don't think the second and the third were a no-brainer. Especially calling a timeout if you're trying to get them to go on a hard count and then bring the offense back out on the field. That one's not a no-brainer. I would have taken.
Well, to me, it would have been. I mean, I'm an aggressive. When I watch football, I like aggressiveness. But okay.
I understand that. This isn't college football. This is the NFL we're talking about.
Well, you don't watch college football, so how would you know?
This is why, because I don't watch college football, because I don't like watching games where they're going for fourth down every single play because they don't have a special teams.
Not necessarily. Army does it. Not every team goes for.
I'm not getting into an argument about college football. I'm talking about the Buffalo Bills right now, and you make the claim that.
Now, let's go to McDermott's first. I can give him a pass sort of on the first playoff game. Last year, I mean, we all know what happened. They completely blow it. I want him to get in the playoffs. It looks like they're going to, obviously, and win a playoff game. That is a must this year. They have to win a playoff.
Okay.
I hope he's
agree on that,
coach.
James. We all agree on this. I'm going to end this pissing match between you two, even though this is why this was fun. This is why I did this, because this was going to be very fun.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet because
he's still not done. Okay.
Because you think that the loss last year to Houston in the playoffs, you're going to base that now.
I'm not basing it. I'm saying if he coaches the Bills are good enough to beat the teams they should beat. Are they good enough to beat the Kansas Cities of the world?
Do you want
Titans?
You want to know why that he was conservative?
Yeah.
Because Josh Allen wasn't Josh Allen last year.
I would
conservative because he didn't have a quarterback that could throw the ball.
He didn't have Diggs.
It's not even that. It's not that it's that Josh Allen couldn't throw a football like he could this year.
I agree.
That is why you play conservative. That was the smart call. The defense laid an egg, and you're playing against a top 5 quarterback in Deshaun Watson.
Well, and they also got screwed on that the Ford holding call. I mean that's beside in overtime.
It wasn't a hold. It was technically an illegal block.
Illegal block. That's what I meant. Yeah.
But anyway, I understand that you think that they played conservative and it was the wrong call, but to me, it was the right call to try and play conservative because Josh Allen couldn't throw a football. If you kept throwing the football at Josh Allen, he was bound to make a mistake last year.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's take it.
This year, it is completely different.
I agree.
And if they lose a playoff game, and if they lay an egg, if they get embarrassed in the playoffs, or if the playoff game that they lose is to, I don't know, another really, really good team that we're on the same level as, that they play them hard and they lose.
Yeah.
I have no problem.
I know. It's just the context.
They lay an egg in the playoffs. Yes, I will understand, and I will maybe be on the same wavelength as you. But for you to come out and say that you think Sean McDermott can't win the big games, and you think that if they lose a playoff game, that's the expectation. get to the playoffs, win in the playoffs. Yes,
I agree.
but I'm not gonna be calling for Sean McDermott's head.
Oh, I'm not either. I'm just saying he has to prove this year that he can win a playoff game because these last two playoff runs, like, yeah, it was nice to get there. It was good, like especially ending the drought in 17. But like the time for just being happy to get to the playoffs, I think is clearly over.
So you started this whole entire debate by saying, oh, he just needs to win a playoff game, and then you're not going to tell me what you would, and then you're just going to say, oh, it'll be okay if he doesn't though.
Well, I never said. I said the context. Of
okay, then what would you do if he loses said playoff game?
Well, it depends on who they play and how they would lose it. Like if they lost,
James, I literally just said that, and you argued with me.
I mean, if they lose a playoff game, how they did last year against a team like Houston, I'd be absolutely furious. So I think you would too, to be honest.
James, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
If they lose a playoff game, the next time you're in Buffalo, I will watch a college football game with you.
All right.
If they win said playoff game, you can never text me ever again.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
That works.
Well, speaking of that, James, I told you that I could ask you a college football question, but we're running out of time. I can't do that.
Oh, we're running out. It's all right.
No, we are. I will talk to you about college football in our own time. Right now, we're running out of time.
Can I just say something about Adam Gase first?
Go ahead. What about the Jets tanking?
Well, first off, we know he's a clown. Second, I mean, I think Connor mentioned this last week. I mean, if there's any Jets fan who thinks that they're just going to, assuming they get the number one pick, they draft Trevor Lawrence and everything's just going to magically be okay, they're fools. They have to build around him. They need a competent head coaching staff. They need more weapons. It's one of the reasons why Darnold, it's like a no-win scenario. He can be tremendous, and they still have very few chances to win. I thought their Mims picture, the wide receiver, was very good. Looks good. But I mean, they don't need to just get this coaching hire right. They need to nail it. I mean, and I cannot believe if I'm a Jets fan, I don't want Christopher Johnson having any say in the hire at all. If you remember the infamous Adam Gase intro presser where he was like rolling the eyes and stuff. I mean, yeah, that was that. But the biggest thing I took out of that was when Christopher Johnson was asked whether they're going to have a playoff mandate this year for Gase, whether he has to get to the playoffs. He goes, "No, I'll never do that. That'll never happen to me." Like, if you're not coaching to get in the playoffs, what the hell are you coaching for? Why are you hiring this guy? It was bizarre. And I mean, the first game against Buffalo, I mean, the second half pretty much showed, Gase. And then I'll also take this from that intro presser. Christopher Johnson said Adam Gase is coaching to where football is going. And we clearly know, I mean, that's not the case at all. So, And then I just watched on my TV here college football playoff rankings. It was the same 4 teams as last week. Ohio State, as we all know, the Michigan game got canceled. And as a Michigan fan, I say, thank God there's no beatdown coming at all on Saturday. But if you're the Big Ten commissioner, Kevin Warren, who is an absolute, I repeat this, absolute fool. I mean, where do you even start with this clown? I mean, he canceled the season in September after re-releasing a conference-only schedule 5 days later. I mean, come on. Get this guy out of here. He's a bum. I can do a better job.
I agree with you. I'm going to jump in here, James. We can talk about college football on the side. We're running out of time. You just talked about.
Do we have time for trivia?
No, you don't. Real quick, James. We talked about the Bills. Talked about the Jets.
Yeah.
Are you just this is the last question. Are you afraid? What teams are you afraid of for the Bills? Are you afraid of Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins moving forward after this year?
Well, one of my grafting friends is a big Dolphins fan, so I'm sure if they lose the Dolphins in the playoffs, they come back to her.
So your answer is no. Are you worried about Bill Belichick and the Patriots in the next couple years?
Never count out Belichick. Never count him out.
So yes to the Patriots, no to the Dolphins. Okay.
He just needs a franchise quarterback and a corona vaccine for his defense to get back next year and be fine.
Exactly. James, last question.
Yeah.
You have looking at the teams in the AFC with the Bills right now, they're 9-3. They're settling in probably the 3 seed right now. What teams do you think the Bills cannot beat right now if the playoffs started today? Last question.
Well, I mean, they can't beat themselves. I mean, if you beat yourselves, you're not going to win the game. I mean, obviously. But it depends. If they play like they did against the Titans laying an egg this year, I mean, that's not going to get it done. But I think the Bills, they played it for the most part. They're just like Northwestern and the Steelers as well. Well, I'm not shocked, lost last week. They played to the level of their opponent, So if they can do what they do and be fundamentally sound, not turning the ball over, Valen. Tyler Bass has been tremendous. I wanted to cut bait with him. But you know what? He's been tremendous. Just keep kicking those field goals. And every week before the Bills games, I send a pep talk in our group chat. And you know what? Just keep doing all of those things, the little things, because the little things with fundamentally sound football teams, that's what wins ball games.
Okay, I know.
I'll leave you with this. Just remember, don't confuse effort with results. Just because you played well, just because you won the game doesn't mean you played well. Just remember that.
That's right.
And as always, defense wins championships, but fundamentals wins ball games.
Okay. There we go.
Also, go Cats. Good luck to my mom's Northwestern Wildcats in the Big Ten championship game. Beat Ohio State or Indiana.
All right.
And go Blue. Michigan hockey tonight. Beat Minnesota.
Okay. Go Blue. James, thank you for joining us. Thanks for the Bills talk. I enjoyed you and Connor going at it. That's exactly why I did this. Bring some pep on this show. And
yeah.
All right, James, you can sign off now. Good luck to Michigan. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Sounds good. Go Blue.
All right. Bye, James.
Yep.
Connor, that was just for you. I wanted to make you sweat a little bit. I know you enjoy arguing with James.
I'm just so appalled at the fact that he basically said that they can't win big games. And then at the same time is implying that they can beat anybody in the playoffs.
A little scatterbrain. Not understood. Well, at least that was a lot of fun, though. Sorry to make your blood pressure go up a little bit. You got to round this out, though, man. Football's starting.
We're running out of time. Just let's preview the Thursday game and let's bring this one home.
We are running out of time.
I gotta go take an Advil.
You got to take an Advil. Well, we got to do our last call real quick. So just tonight, Dallas, Baltimore. Who do you got?
I already said Dallas.
You got Dallas. Okay. I mean, yeah, Lamar's back to Baltimore. Chance to recuperate. 3-game skid. It's hard to see them lose 4 in a row. They're not that bad. But Dallas has almost had 2 full weeks. The last time they played was Thanksgiving, blown up by Washington. And then just 2 days from now, we start week 14, Connor. New England's staying in L.A. I did check on that. Apparently, they are staying in L.A. because they just played there on Sunday, playing again Thursday. They're staying in L.A. They're playing the Rams now. A rematch of Super Bowl 53. This is 51. 53. Sorry, messed it up. But it all comes down to who's more prepared, I believe. Who do you got in that game? You want to make a pick right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna take LA.
Okay.
LA's been playing good football, but I mean, again, it's gonna be who's more prepared and who's gonna make. Didn't they already play? Oh no, I'm sorry. They played Tampa. My bad. I'm still thinking Brady and the Patriots.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be really. I like how you put that. Who's gonna be more prepared? Sean McVay is a great head coach. So it's going to be how can he combat the Bill Belichick defense. So I'm going to take LA though. I think that they're going to be playing even more inspired football with that Seattle loss now. So I think they're going to be really, really trying to strive for the playoffs and do some damage there.
Okay.
I'm just so flustered right now.
Yeah.
I got scattered brain because of everything that just happened.
Well, you'll have a chance real quick to talk about the Bills one more time. I think I'm going to take it's tough to make this call right now. I was high on New England. I think they're going to win a couple more games to round out the year. I still don't think they make the playoffs. I've been high on the Rams. It's really hard for me not to take the Rams as well. I think right now I'm locking it in as Rams. I have a couple days to change my decision, Connor, but let's get to it with long show. Thanks for hanging in there with us, people. Last call. What do you got?
Hold on. Excuse me.
Need a drink of water after that heated debate.
First off, you ever bring on a guest without clearing it through the executive producer here?
I had to do it. There's no way you'd let him on. And he's for 2 weeks.
I'll have him on. James, you can come on whenever. We can have these debates. I like debates. I like arguing about sports. I love it. Just as long as you don't bring up college football. This is strictly professional sports right now. We are talking about the NFL. We are not talking about college football. Anyway, it's that time. I had my homer time. but I wanted to save this for the end. My last call. I am 23 years old. Never in my life have I ever seen somebody under center that could really throw a football effectively representing the Buffalo Bills. The criticism across the nation when the Bills took Josh Allen was understandable. He was raw, needed the most development. He was going to be the biggest project in the draft almost. Even Buffalo was extremely skeptical because personally, as part of the fan base, we thought that we should be getting a guy who can change the franchise the minute he stepped on the turf. Especially personally, moving on from Tyrod after some are going to have their opinions about this. After he helped us get to the playoffs for the first time in almost 2 decades, that's what I was expecting. A guy who's going to make an absolute immediate impact right away. All right, because we were sick of the cycle for the Bills. We've been suffering with the Sabres getting, decent draft pick after decent draft pick after decent draft. I mean, hell, we're still waiting on, the Sabres get to the playoffs after getting Jack Eichel. But with all that criticism, then the criticism now is what I will not understand. There are guys on sports radio, sports TV, on talk shows that get paid. They get paid to say that Sam Darnold is on the same level or a better quarterback in terms of talent as Josh Allen. It's blasphemy. Nick Wright on First Things First on FS1 said the Bills would be a better team if they had a QB that he could trust. He also places Sam Darnold on the same quarterback tier list. Now, I get to the first statement, a quarterback that the Bills, that he could trust. I get that to an extent. But he has also been one of Allen's biggest critics since entering the league. And people's obsessions with wanting to hate and wanting to critique people. I know Colin Cowherd was a big one of Baker Mayfield. I'm sure you remember, you're a big Colin Cowherd guy, where he even had Baker on the show and they got into a little altercation on the show. But Nick Wright is one of Josh Allen's biggest critics. But what the hell is he talking about? What more do you need to see from Josh Allen this year to kind of trust him more? Because I was skeptical of Josh Allen until I saw what he did the first 3 weeks. So the growth and the progression that he has made should prove enough that he is a legit top tier quarterback in this league and that you can trust him. And if you seriously think, and don't get me wrong, I was incorrect about a lot this week, but if you really think that Sam Darnold is on the same level as Josh Allen, you need a new job if you are being paid to talk about sports. So we're going to rewind a little bit. San Fran, what Josh Allen just did to San Francisco. Josh Allen throws for 375 yards, 4 touchdowns. Sam Darnold threw for just 179 against that same San Fran team. San Fran has a damn good defense. In terms of passing yards, earlier in the year, they have held opposing quarterbacks under 200 yards 7 times this year. 7 times they've held opposing teams' quarterbacks under 200 yards. That list includes Carson Wentz, Sam Darnold that I just mentioned, Cam Newton, Jared Goff, not once, but twice. Only 3 quarterbacks this season have thrown for over 300. One of them was Ryan Fitzpatrick in week 5. Say what you want about that. The only other one besides Josh Allen is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a top 5 quarterback. I mean, I don't think that's really up for debate with anybody. Everybody will agree with that. But his progression as a quarterback, from reading defenses, adjustments at the line, not forcing throws like he was his first 2 years, extending plays, keeping his eyes downfield, which has been key this year, because normally whenever he rolls out, he just takes off with it, but he's keeping his eyes downfield. Another bold take, and throw me on a stake if you think that I'm wrong, but the way he's playing right now, the way he looks and what he's doing, it is eerily similar to Patrick Mahomes. That is not my homer opinion. That is my realistic outlook on the Bills quarterback. He is an MVP candidate. He is a top 5 quarterback in the league. And it is about time for people to start understanding that Josh Allen is becoming a big problem in this league. Last call.
Hit him with it, Connor. Yes. Josh Allen, bold dude. I'm with you, man. I told you from the beginning, I thought right after the draft, I thought Josh Allen was the number 1 out of that 5 quarterback draft class.
Maybe this is why I should watch college football, so I know more.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to watch it at some point in time.
I dabble, but I don't pay attention.
It's fun. I love it. Josh Allen's always been my number one. Right now, if you look at, they showed a graphic last night, records, and so far those 5, and Lamar Jackson clearly has the better record, won an MVP. But in the long run, Josh Allen is going to be the long-running quarterback out of those 5, winning the most games, going to win. He's going to win a Super Bowl at some point, Connor. I have all the faith in that. I would never Sam Darnold, you can say what you want about him. He's been in a really bad situation. I don't think we can evaluate him that much right now. But I'm with you. Nowhere near Josh Allen right now. Not even close. And just to point out this, Colin Cowherd, as I've listened for a couple years now, has never really given any attention to the Bills or Josh Allen. He wasn't on him this year, though. He's been on the Josh Allen train. And today, funny you mentioned it, number 4, 4th best team in his hurt hierarchy. So he's up on the Bills. He said he might even put them above Green Bay right now. So
Did you see his Instagram video last night too?
Yes, hilarious.
Yeah,
hilarious. That's
he's a big cigar guy now, huh?
Cracks me up. But that just to make you feel better, Connor, that Cowherd has the Bills as number 4, and he loves Josh Allen. Love your last call. Here we go. Now I'm going to do something crazy here. I don't know.
You always do on every last call. You did Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh my! Last time, so I don't even know what you have in store this time.
I don't know what goes on in my head when I think of this. Just stay with me. Just try to understand. It might not make sense. I think it does in a way. So, this is called A Tale of Two Cities, a historic novel written by Charles Dickens back in 1859. Stay with me. Set in London and Paris during the French Revolution, cited as the best-selling novel of all time, and it's turned into a movie and whatnot. It's the story of a man's 18-year imprisonment in Bastille in Paris before his release to prison to live in London with his estranged daughter, Lucy. Now, Connor, there are 2 teams that fit this narrative in the NFL right now. 2 that stick right out. 2 teams that, if you look on paper in 2020, have no right being in the same conversation. But here we are. 2004, Connor. Team A, a 14-2 team, beat Team B, 15-1 team in the AFC title game. Although Team B won in the regular season. 2007, Team A beats Team B in the regular season, a season in which Team A went unbeaten. 2008, Team B beats Team A in the regular season when Team A superhero went down in week 1 and didn't play. And Team B goes on to win the Super Bowl. That's their own Super Bowl. Team A in 2010 beats Team B in the regular season again. 2011, Team B gets back and beats Team A in the regular season. Stay with me. 2013, Team A beats Team B in regular season, scoring 55 points. And that superhero I mentioned earlier threw for 432 yards and 4 touchdowns. 2015, Team A wins season opener versus Team B. 2016, Team A not only wins the regular season over Team B, but beats them by 19 once again in the AFC title game. They go on to win the Super Bowl. 2017, Team A wins in the regular season again, goes to Super Bowl again. 2018, Team B gets the win in the regular season, but Team A goes on to win the Super Bowl again. Team B misses playoffs. 2019, final one, Team A once again blows out Team B in the season opener, 33-3. First game of the year on national television. Team B misses the playoffs again. If you haven't caught on yet, Connor, or anyone, Team A is the New England Patriots. Team B is the Pittsburgh Steelers. New England's 9-4 over Pittsburgh since 2004, including beating them in the playoffs twice. In those 16 years, Pittsburgh has made the playoffs 10 times. They won 2 Super Bowls. Big Ben's second year, and then 2009-10 Super Bowl 44. 43, not 44. But they've missed the playoffs 6 times. In those 16 years, New England has missed the playoffs only once. And that was the year Tom Brady went down in week 1, gave the ball to Matt Castle. Oh, by the way, in which they still went 11-5. They missed the playoffs going 11-5. Unheard of. If you look on paper, if you use the eye test, the Pittsburgh Steelers have clearly been the cream of the crop in the AFC with Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback and Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin as the head coach. But always second to New England. Every time. Always second fifth. Pittsburgh can't pull through or put a full season together. There's a lot to it. I talked about it last week. They had a lot of drama in years past with Antonio Brown. Many times in the last decade, the Steelers have been the favorite to win it all, and they just simply don't. They may beat New England in the regular season. They have 4 times, but New England gets better and better and still goes further than Pittsburgh every year. Now, to go back to the book, the classic novel, Pittsburgh is London. Pittsburgh is fun. They have all the fans in the black and gold. They intimidate you with their terrible towels waving in the air. They always have the meanest, toughest guys on defense. They have a veteran quarterback that does things that we haven't quite seen a lot. He's great with the football, the pump fakes. He can throw the football around. They have all the tools to be the best city in the world, the best team in the NFL, but they can't get over that hump. New England is Paris, in Bastille, Paris, more specifically, in prison. London may be fun, but maybe it's not as good as Paris. Paris is fun, but not as much as London. But it's cool to look at. The Eiffel Tower is there. But Paris, they're tougher. They're a more systematic way to it, more disciplined. You might beat them out in the popularity contest, Connor, but they'll come back in the end and always win. They went through a revolution, Paris did, France did. A revolution that got its own name. In New England, they have that title too. They're winners under Bill Belichick. Belichick will go 11-5 in a year without a star. In 2020, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 11-0. The Patriots were 5-6. Everyone writes off New England, who has a lot of young players, no Tom Brady, no a beat-up Cam Newton. But let me tell you something about New England. They'll always be there. They'll always be prepared. Sure, Pittsburgh, you can go 11-0, but can you handle it? Can you be the coolest city in the most winning city? Who have you played? Giants, Broncos, Texans, Eagles, Browns, Titans, Ravens, Cowboys, Cincinnati, and Jacksonville. Of course you're 11-0. New England lost a few tough games on the road. They get written off, travel across the country to LA and win 45-0. In the most Bill Belichick, disciplined, special teams way. Tom Landry now Bill Belichick tying Tom Landry for the most wins over 40 points. New England is Bastille. They're a prison. They take you in. They make your life miserable. Pittsburgh is their London. Fun and touristy, fun place to be, but they can never outplay. They can never outcoach New England. The New England Paris Patriots. Like the character in Charles Dickens' famous novel, being 11-0 in Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh's estranged daughter. It's clueless to it. They don't know what to do with it. They aren't sure how to handle it. They blow away games. They can't get on the same level when they are in prison because that's New England's prison, Connor. Steelers are now 11-1. They play Buffalo next week. They have a much better Cleveland team to play in Week 17. They might lose a few more. They're going to finish 13-3 and probably lose in the playoffs, probably in the divisional round, maybe even the wild card. Patriots are 6-6. They're 6. They're on the outside looking in. Playoffs, maybe not in the cards this year. But right now, they're the better football team. And I say that with everything I have right now. Over the last couple of weeks, New England Patriots are a better football team than the Pittsburgh Steelers in different ways. They just won a game 45-0 when their quarterback threw for 69 yards. That's just how the Patriots do it. Could make it push? I don't know. This is the tale of two cities. Let's see how it plays out. Last call.
You're a magician. You must have been really good in English class.
I guess. You know, English was always my favorite. I'm not a math person. I enjoy it. I enjoy the story. You got to bring these anecdotes, analogies, make people see sports in a different way sometimes. You know? Just gets the wheels turned. Makes you think about like, oh my God. You know, I'm not saying that Patriots are going to go to the playoffs and just create another dynasty out of nowhere again. I'm just saying, look at the records, look at the stats, look at the history. That's all I have.
I don't know, man. You know my thoughts on that, but again, after I said it, they went out and they beat the Chargers 45-0. So I don't know. Time will tell. I like it though. I mean,
We'll see. I want the Steelers to succeed. What they did yesterday was just piss poor. What they've done the last 2 weeks is just not a Super Bowl team. When you completely abandon the run and go,
Mr. Johnson's a Steelers fan.
yes, my father is a Steelers fan. So there's sometimes I'm like, sure, I'll be okay if the Steelers win. But when you go five wide receiver set, Big Ben in the shotgun by himself for an entire drive, they went an entire drive like that. They completely abandoned the run against the Washington football team. You don't deserve to win. I need to see something else. Come on. But that's it. What a long show today. It was a lot of fun though. I made
Maybe round 2 with James Misericola on Friday.
Yeah, we'll see what James is doing. That seems like a fun little thing to have you two go at it. I'm sorry that I brought him on without you knowing. I just had to do it. I had to. Now we know. Okay. Connor, I hope you do well. I forgot to ask you too. I was gonna ask you on our Friday show, what is going to be the headline in Buffalo on Tuesday morning? What was it? Do you know? What was the headline on the sports page of the Buffalo?
I forgot what I saw or what I thought. I don't know.
It's creative, but who knows?
I personally thought it would have been something about them winning.
Well,
about being legit contenders in the AFC.
Yeah, probably. Well, they are. They're 9-3. A lot of 9-3 teams. A lot of teams there fighting for the playoffs. Another big week coming up. Ravens, Cowboys going at it right now. That might be a crapshoot of a game. We'll see. But yeah, join us again on Friday and Saturday. Connor, have a beautiful sleep tonight. I hope you
always a pleasure.
Enjoy the Bills win some more. And we'll be back. Beyond the Box Score. We'll see you in a few days.